When you look at a massive concrete bridge or a skyscraper that just seems to touch the clouds, what do you really see? Probably just a simple gray man-made stone, right? Well, today we're going to peel back that surface. We're going to show you the incredible high-stakes science that turns these humble ingredients into the very backbone of our modern world. So let's get into it. It all really starts with a question just like this. Think about it. When the stakes are that high, when people's lives are literally on the line, you just can't guess. You can't eyeball it. The entire integrity of that massive structure, from the deep foundation all the way to the top, it all comes down to getting the very first step absolutely 100% perfect. And that really is the secret. It is all about the recipe. It's kind of like baking, but instead of flour and sugar, you're dealing with cement, water, and aggregates. And every single one of those components has to be measured with painstaking scientific precision, down to the gram. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. It's all about the batch. This is the fundamental unit, the very first moment where that super precise recipe actually comes to life. So, what is batching? Well, it's not just measuring. It's a highly controlled process of weighing every single ingredient, the cement, the sand, the gravel, the water, any chemical additives, before they even come close to each other. And the key word here, the one that matters most, is precisely. So how do the plants actually do this? Well, they've basically got two main options. They can use individual batchers, where every single material gets its own scale. Now, this is slower, for sure, but you get unbelievable accuracy. Or they can go with cumulative batchers, where you're adding ingredients one after another into the same bin on a single scale. It's way faster, but man, you have to be so careful about the order you add them in. It's that classic trade-off, right? Pure speed versus absolute pinpoint precision.
But of course, this level of precision doesn't just happen by magic. It is completely dependent on the tools behind the science, the equipment that has to be maintained with an almost obsessive level of care.
And this right here, this rule is totally non-negotiable. See, cement is the active ingredient. It's the glue that holds the whole thing together. Getting its proportion right is the single most critical part of the recipe's strength. So trying to weigh it on the same scale as thousands of pounds of rock and sand? No way. That's just asking for errors. Cement always gets its own dedicated scale. And just think about the discipline this takes. These tools aren't just installed and forgotten. The scales have to be checked with certified known weights every 6 months. And the water meters, they have to be recalibrated every 3 months. Why? Because even a tiny change in water pressure can throw the entire recipe off. It's a system of constant, relentless verification. So let's zoom out a little from the individual tools to the plant itself and see how this whole thing scales up. Because believe me, we have come a very, very long way from just a guy with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. This progression, it tells a really clear story. And it's all about one single goal: systematically removing human error from the equation. You start with a fully manual plant, where an operator is pulling levers, controlling everything. Then you move to semi-automatic, where they just punch in the target weights. And finally, you get to today's fully automatic systems, where an operator just selects, say, mix design 47B, and a computer executes the entire process flawlessly, every single time. But here's the key. This is the really important part. It doesn't matter if you have the latest, greatest computer-controlled system or a really well-run manual plant. The standards for precision, the tolerances for every ingredient, they are exactly the same. The science doesn't change, only the tools you use to get there. Okay, so we've measured all our ingredients with scientific precision. We're done, right? Not even close. That's only half the battle. Now you have to combine them perfectly. And getting the mixing right is every bit as critical as getting the measurements right. You've probably seen a standard drum mixer before, right? The kind that just tumbles the concrete over and over. They're great for general purpose stuff. But for high-spec jobs, like architectural concrete, where the final look is everything, you need a different beast entirely. That's where paddle or pan mixers come in. They use this intense, high-shear action that makes sure every single grain of sand is perfectly coated in that cement paste. And that's exactly why. If you want that smooth, uniform, absolutely flawless finish, you need that thorough mixing that only they can provide. The choice of mixer isn't about convenience. It's directly linked to the performance and the beauty of the final product. And just like the scales, these mixers operate under a super strict set of rules. You've got to respect the machine's limits, its capacity, its rotation speed, and you have to be obsessed with cleanliness. Why? because any little piece of hardened concrete left over from yesterday's batch can break off and act like a poison, totally compromising the integrity of the next mix. It's all about guaranteeing perfect consistency, batch after batch after batch.
So, we've gone through the scales, the software, the mixers, all this tech, but it's all just details if we don't look at the big picture. Let's step back for a second and really understand why this obsession with precision matters so much.
Remember that one small detail we mentioned earlier? 3. Every 3 months, the water meters are checked and recalibrated. It seems like such a tiny thing, right? But that single number, it represents the entire philosophy here. A relentless, systematic pursuit of perfection. That's the mindset that's literally holding up our world.
And that ultimately is the real takeaway. Creating the concrete that builds our cities isn't some simple construction job. It's a high-tech, precision-driven manufacturing process where every single step is designed to guarantee the safety, the strength, and the durability of that final structure. So the next time you're walking on a sidewalk or driving across a bridge or looking up at a skyscraper, remember what's really going on inside. What you're seeing isn't a monument to just brute force. It's a testament to meticulous, repeatable, and relentless precision. So, what do you think? Will you still see simple stone, or will you see a work of science?